Yo, what is up everyone? Back here with another video. Today we're going to be best of 3ing versus Aaron, or otherwise known as CybertronVGC. Aaron's super cool dude. You guys should know his channel already if you're invested in VGC, but if you don't, his channel will be linked down below. Super incredible dude. I mean, obviously he's a big person in the community, so I'm really glad we get the opportunity to actually play versus him. There are very few opportunities where I haven't gotten to play versus him, so it's actually really nice to, you know, actually get a game in versus him. You know, see, kind of, you know, have that fun match. So, really excited for that. Looking forward to it. Let me make sure to put my audio up. I know I've heard so many people talking about my audio, so I'm putting it up as much as possible this video. If I'm too loud, I'm gonna be kind of annoyed. No, but I should be good. All right, cool. All right, that's Aaron. But yeah, I'm really excited to play. We actually built a new team for this. You guys can see it right above me. Really excited, actually, to use it. It should be a lot of fun. It's basically centered around getting a belly drum. I'm gonna lower Elgato audio a little bit. Okay, nice. I think that should be okay. I'm gonna leave the audio like here. Hopefully it's not too loud. We'll find out, I guess. But yeah, pretty much, because like, I mean, the one thing that would be bad is like the game power, like game volume overpowering my voice, right? But yeah, pretty much. It's a pretty straightforward team. We have screens, we have Dragon Dance, Heatar, Hitmontop, Heatran, and then we have, like, you know, obviously the Jump Left Azumarill course. I'm like really excited to use this team actually. Should be a lot of fun. Let me actually rate him good luck and fun. And we'll be doing a post-game interview after. Okay, so from the start, the team is Pelipper, Kingdra, Scizor, Raichu, Togekiss, and Venusaur. Okay. I feel like Jumpluff is actually really good here. I don't know if the Kingdra is running Ice Beam, but I feel like the Jumpluff would still be really valid here. I'm debating between leading Raikou or leading with the, you know, leading with the Azumarill. I feel like almost Jumpluff, Raikou, Azumarill, and Tyranitar would be good here. Because the only thing that I'm worried about is being a little too underprepared for the Scizor, you know? Maybe Raikou is in the play here, actually, because there is a lot to deal with it. I kind of want to take Heatran in the back, almost. Or Hitmontop. I think Heatran in the back would actually be pretty good. Along with Tyranitar. And then leading the Azumarill just forces Aaron to kind of respect that lead a little more. So I'm going to do that. I feel like that would put on enough pressure here. Because if I get the belly drum off on the Azumarill, it's actually really threatening. Alright, Raichu Kingdra, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I feel like here we're in a pretty good position, right? Because, like, obviously, we can just protect from the double fake out. Like, I don't think there's any issue doing that, right? And then here, we just protect. Is there anything wrong with that? I think we just double protect. So my Jumpluff also has Encore on it, which is really big because it means that if Aaron goes for something like a fake out, I can punish him for it like pretty much immediately. That being said, I do tie with the Raichu, so it's kind of like uncertain, but yeah, I think we just double protect here. Because it just keeps us safe, right? And Jumpluff is able to go for like Sleep Powders, able to go for Rage Powder, so it's pretty disruptive. I assume Aaron would be cautious with it. What matters is if the Jumpluff is running, or not the Jumpluff, if the Kingdra is running Ice Beam or not. That's actually the number one thing we need to find out. I don't think Raichu gets faint. Okay, it goes for a Volt Switch, it's fine. And Draco Meteor. Okay, so there's no Ice Beam. If that's being clicked, there's definitely no Ice Beam on the team, I think. Alright, we're going to go for a Sleep Powder, I think, into the Raichu, and we're going to go for a Belly Drum. The other option is we just go for Rage Powder, which is safer, or even a Play Rough. I actually feel comfortable going for a Play Rough here, because getting rid of the Kingdra immediately would be really good. And it doesn't, like, make us lower our own HP, right? Like, getting rid of the Kingdra immediately would be really nice. So we can go for Sleep Powder here. If Sleep Powder connects on the Raichu, too, like, it's a really good position for us, because then we potentially get a free setup later. But yeah. Also, our Jumpluff is not Chlorophyll, it's actually Infiltrator. The reason why we're running Infiltrator is because if like Substitute is up or something, it still lets Jumpluff go for Sleep Powders. So it's actually really nice. I think it's a really cool addition on this team. And it's something that I wanted to find like a way to use Jumpluff. So I'm really excited we were able to build this team because I think Jumpluff is a really cool option. Aaron having Raichu is so interesting too, because it actually can make it a little bit difficult for me to do certain things. I think this might be a Pelipper swap-in, right? It is a Pelipper swap-in, okay. That being said though, if we remove Kingdra here, I think we're okay, because Draco Meteor is probably coming out, right? This does give Kingdra the speed advantage. If Draco Meteor misses, that'd be ideal, but if not, that's fine, because then it just takes out our Jumpluff, we trade the KO, and then we're okay. And even in the case where Kingdra's Sash, we should be okay. Also, can we just acknowledge how good Shiny Jumpluff and Shiny Azumarill look? Like, they're easily some of the best Shinies in the game. All right, let's go for Play Rough. Play Rough connects, it's really good. Kingdra's gone. All right, so now it's Raichu probably coming out here. I can bring in Tyranitar pretty safely here, I feel like. Like, I don't think I have any drawback to bring in Tyranitar here, because I changed the weather. I can go for free Rock Slide, and I also have Aqua Jet Pressure, right, on the Raichu. So I can get, like, free damage, follow up by Rock Slide, kill Raichu, and then it also, like, chunks Pelipper heavily. Jumpluff was really nice at turn 1, especially because there's no Ice Beam in play to kind of force targets into it. Right, Venusaur comes out here. That could be a little annoying for us, because Venusaur actually has some decent pressure. The one thing of note, though, with Venusaur is that Venusaur actually doesn't have any way to hit Heatran. So that actually helps us a good bit, at least. I kind of want to just go for damage and Play Rough into the Venusaur, because Play Rough plus Rock Slide would probably do a good chunk of damage to it, right? The back one is Raichu. You can even Play Rough in the Pelipper if you think he's going to try and reset the weather, you know? I would almost feel comfortable doing that, but I'm a little worried. So, yeah, I'm going to Rock Slide here, and I'm going to Play Rough into the Venusaur. This seems weird, letting Venusaur just click whatever move it wants on me, but yeah, it's going to use up something, right? So we just got to cover for that. All right, Leaf Storm is fine. Unfortunately, our T-Tar is going to go down here, which isn't the best, but the nice thing is that we're going to get, like, big chunk damage on the Venusaur, and if we get up a Belly Drum at this point, we should be able to just sweep with Aqua Jet, I'm pretty sure. It might be close on the Venusaur, actually. But we're going to get in Heatran here, right, which is going to be able to put on some pressure and, like, go for Heat Wave. So Aaron's probably going to be forced to swap in this position, and if we go for a Heat Wave and a Play Rough, that should be really good for us, because we would be able to take out the Pelipper here. Venusaur is unlikely to attack, I think. I think Venusaur wants to swap. And it'll put us in a really good position to, like, win the game. So I'm going to go for a Play Rough here. If we remove the Pelipper, we're in a really good spot, because Pelipper is literally the only thing that can touch Heatran at this point. But we'll see. Because, like, Raichu Volt Switch does some damage, right? So you have to be a little careful here. This is actually okay. Actually, I don't think this is a bad position. Does he let me attack the Venusaur, though? He does. Okay. So this is now a really tricky endgame, because the Sleep Powder went off on the Heatran, now it's basically a game of will I wake up or not, right? Play Rough in the Raichu here, I still think that was correct, because if Pelipper stays in and scalds, you want to be able to hit it for damage. We have to be a little bit scared, though, because Venusaur is actually a really good endgame on versus the Azumarill. The nice thing is that the Venusaur is chipped, right? But I think Aaron wanted to reset the, basically get the Pelipper back in with, like, the rain, so you could go for Hurricanes if you needed to. Now, the thing is that it's not necessarily over yet, because the Venusaur is at -1, right? But Scald from Pelipper might just OHKO the Heatran too. So it's a little spooky. We either hope for the turn 1 wake up, or we play like, it's not going to wake up. I'm going to play like it's going to wake up, because I think that's our best out here. I want to Play Rough into the Pelipper, and I want to go for a Flash Cannon into the Venusaur, because then we can Aqua Jet clean up everything, right? And there's also a good chance that the Venusaur will just target into the Heatran. It's more likely to target into Azumarill with even a Sleep Powder, but just in the instance where, like, there's a double up in the Heatran for some reason, it kind of just leaves us open to possibilities. Because Scald shouldn't KO Heatran. Heatran's pretty naturally bulky, and Pelipper isn't the most phenomenal attacker. However, I wouldn't be too surprised to see it. Pelipper actually protects here. If Heatran wakes up here and gets a Flash Cannon, that'd actually be huge. Oh, Leaf Storm missing is really good too. It's still kind of the same position, all things considered, because now it's just Aaron doesn't have the option to protect. I think protect was actually a really good play from Aaron there. But we probably just do the same thing, honestly. Because Leaf Storm should put us in citrus range, and then we'll live Hurricane, I would assume. If we don't, then I'll be a little concerned. But Aaron played that well. That was a little unlucky on his end. Storm comes out. We should live this. Yeah, okay. Then we get citrus. We should live the follow-up Hurricane too if Hurricane comes into Azumarill. I have to ignore the Venusaur here if I'm using Azumarill because Heatran can deal with that, right? Like Hurricane, okay. Okay, we live, that's good. Heatran's fast sleep, that's not great. Okay, yeah, now we lose. We 100% lose the game now. I'm trying to think of our only win con here, and I think our win con is Heatran living the Pelipper move. And us getting a double protect, right? Because he doesn't want to get play roughed. Okay, we have to protect here. But this is not a good spot for us. I think we protect and we flash cannon. Sludge Bomb comes out, that's fine. Aaron doesn't want to miss. Scald comes out, okay. I'm not surprised Heatran lived. Heatran's pretty bad. Heatran woke up. Flash cannon needs a kill here. Oh, yeah, it didn't kill. That's really bad. Yeah, now we just lose, I'm pretty sure. Because, like, even if I Aqua Jet, right, into the Venusaur and kill it, the Pelipper is going to be able to get a KO on something, right? Like, I can't stop the Venusaur from... Like, I can't stop the Venusaur and the Pelipper from dealing enough damage to win the game because my Mons are so chipped. If my Mons weren't chipped, I'd have a much better chance. But because they are chipped, it's, like, rough. Yeah. He targets Azumarill. I guess like the other option there was like to try and double protect it to keep wave off, but even that is like not a good line because it doesn't do enough damage at the end, right? Like I would need to get a triple protect then in that case for that to work. And like there's still the mind game of whether or not Aaron would target my Heatran in those turns. But yeah, GG's game one. That was a pretty good game one. I think that the Venusaur endgame is definitely something I have to respect a little bit more going into the second game. It's like kind of annoying to deal with. I think it's like doable. It's just, you know, a little difficult in some instances. I almost want to forego taking Azumarill here because I feel like Azumarill was a bit of a liability there. Like Azumarill let me hit the Kingdra, but I feel like into everything else it wasn't that great. That being said though, maybe instead of Jumpluff I wanted... Oh, that's the wrong party. Maybe instead of Jumpluff because... Jumpluff put on sleep pressure, but realistically it went down really fast, and Azumarill gives me something to leverage versus the Kingdra. And if I get screens up, right, I'd be in a pretty decent position, I feel like. Alright, we're gonna do this. I feel a little bit better about this, because then I actually have play rough pressure, you know. Raichu can't really Volt Switch, you would have to hard swap, and then I get a free trade turn 1, right? And like giving up a Raikou is okay. We'll see what Aaron does, though. I don't know if Aaron adjusts here, or if he just kind of keeps the same thing. I could see it going either way, right? Like, realistically, your line of play worked, like, the Venusaur endgame worked, but do you want to change it because, like, I know now? And, like, another thing, too, was, like, I guess what it came down to was, like, if the Sleep Powder missed on Aaron's end on the Heatran, that would have been not great, right? But you always assume Sleep Powder lands in those instances, because, like, what's the point of, like, trying to like avert that risk and then lose the game because you didn't click Sleep Powder? Like there's no point. You always click Sleep Powder. So I'm kind of curious to see if Aaron is going to adjust or keep the same stuff. I think too the one thing that could be really interesting from his team is if he brings like a different, like particularly the Scizor. I think the Scizor could be interesting to bring. The thing is though, is like, you seen I brought a Heatran, so he might not want to bring it, you know. The Raichu is kind of annoying too, so I have to be careful of that. Oh, he actually did bring Scizor this time. Okay. I feel like this is a free Reflect plus swap in, right? I could even Snarl to remove the Sash if I wanted to. I'm gonna Snarl here, I guess, and go for a Maybe I light screen, actually. It's a little weird. I almost want to snarl and go for a play rough and just remove the Raichu slot. I feel like that's actually pretty legit. Now, the bad situation here is if he just fake outs and Swords Dances, because I could go into Heatran in that instance. But I think he's going to call that, and I think he's just going to go into Kingdra. Like, Volt Switch, go into Kingdra here. Oh, I'm going for fake out. That's really bad, actually. I mean, obviously we have a free Heatran swap, right? Which isn't the worst. But the problem is that Scizor is really strong. Like, really strong. Alright, Swords Dance comes out. Alright, we're gonna get up screens here. We can actually do a little something, because I feel like it might even Swords Dance again, right? Like, I just feel like Swords Dance again is actually a pretty decent play here. So I'm gonna go for a Reflect, and I'm gonna go for a... I could have light screen too. Yeah, but Aaron's playing this really well. He got like the turn 1 right. Both turns, I think. Oh, but turn 1 actually last game he didn't really get it right. I guess it was just more of like a neutral play from both of our ends. But this turn he definitely got right. It puts him in the driver's seat for the momentum, because now the Scizor can actually do a lot of work. The nice thing, I guess, about this situation, at least, is there's no Kingdra on the board yet, so it kind of leaves me the option to, like, catch a swap still. And I think this is the second Swords Dance coming out, which I kind of expected. Volt Switch comes out here. If this goes into... Oh, that was a crit. See, that's not good, because now Azu can definitely just go down to a Bullet Punch later. But we'll see what comes in here. Getting Reflect up was big, though. Okay. Venusaur might be the thing coming in. Oh, it's actually King. Oh, okay. So Kingdra's just gone. This is actually really good for us now. Assuming we can act. Because, oh, I'm curious about U-turn instead of X-Scissor. I feel like X-Scissor would have let him keep more momentum here, right? Because you actually get to utilize your Swords Dance boost. I think U-turn actually really ruins his momentum there. Okay, nice. Okay, so we connect Play Rough. That's really good. We remove Kingdra. That was pretty much the perfect turn we needed. I think we needed to get rid of that Kingdra as fast as possible so Heatran could do a little more work in this match. So it actually works out really nicely here. So I'm pretty happy with... Like, considering the first turn, I'm really content with how that second turn worked out. The thing is, Bullet Punch pressure is a pretty real thing, and it is probably going to do a bunch of damage, but I think we just Aqua Jet here to prioritize removing the Raichu, and then we should be good. Like, Aqua Jet Snarl should pick up. Raichu's pretty squishy. And then we can just Thunderbolt Pelipper, Aqua Jet it, or whatever. Or even Light Screen if we wanted to. Light Screen, swap into Tyranitar, bring back in Heatran, something like that. Okay. We might not actually pick up the Raichu, unfortunately. That's fine. Azu probably dies to the Volt. Yeah. The -1 wasn't like that strong, right? So, or wasn't like that impactful, I guess. Let's see. Pelipper comes in. Okay, so Pelipper's in the back. I'm really curious about the Scizor adjustment over the Venusaur. I feel like Venusaur was actually really good into the team. I feel like Scizor doesn't offer too much more. Yeah, Sword Dance goes back up here. Nice thing is Reflect is up, so I would say we're not that pressured. I feel like we bring in T-Tar here to mess with the weather. And we can go with a Thunderbolt, maybe? We go Thunderbolt here, and then a Rock Slide. So Bullet Punch shouldn't pick us up here. I know he's +2, but we have Reflect up, right? Which kind of skews the calc in our favor. I'm almost thinking, like, what if I went for a Snarl and a Rock Slide, right? To get even more chip on the Scizor. Or if it's better to get up Light Screen. Because, like, I don't want to let him get a free turn. We're going to go for a Light Screen here, and we're going to go for a Rock Slide. I feel like that's actually a pretty good play. Because I don't think he's gonna bullet punch here. If he U-turns into T-Tar, like, it's pretty risky because I could just bring in Heatran. So I kind of expect the target in the Raikou more likely, or at least if he's gonna target T-Tar, it's gonna be a bullet punch. I'm curious if bullet punch plus Scald picks up T-Tar, because with screens, like, T-Tar's pretty fat already. Well, actually did a lot of damage. He's doing really well at, like, getting these certain turns where it's like a 50-50 almost, right? Okay, he went for Talon actually, so we're pretty fine here, honestly. Especially because Pelipper's gonna be taking a chunk of damage now. Yeah, it's like, it's a very awkward position because in one regard, right, Aaron is in a decent spot because he has the pressure with Scizor to actually, like, put in work in terms of, like, dealing damage, but now he has to kind of worry about Tyranitar or Raikou targeting the Scizor down, which is kind of rough. I'm always going to swap T-Tar here because I think that getting the weather out is important, and if Pelipper cycles, it's better to keep it out. Pelipper's attacking though, so I'm a little bit uncertain. It depends how fast the Scizor is, honestly. If the Scissor's fast, it's bad. Oh, Scald goes into it. Okay, Heatran at least eats it fine because screens. Okay, we get the Snarl. Okay, yeah, so we're in a really good spot now. That was kind of what we needed, actually, to kind of guarantee the game, I think. Getting rid of the Pelipper and having our Heatran at decent enough health is important, and Heatran doesn't take too much. So, yeah, Raikou goes down, that's fine. The reason why I swapped out Tyranitar was to preserve the weather in case Pelipper swapped out, but it's nice that we have our weather in control now. Yeah, I think U-turn over X-Scissor is definitely, like, hurting Aaron a little bit. I think if he had X-Scissor, he would be able to maintain a lot more pressure. I think even the early game, he would have been able to deal a lot more damage to me. Because he could just X-Scissor, right? And then just, like, attack again, and, like, he doesn't have to swap out and keep trying to get the boost back. And now it's, like, too little too late, because, like, he just took so much chip, yeah. I think we just double protect, right? I don't know if he has Encore, actually. That's what I'm kind of worried about. So I'm just gonna click Crunch here, I think. And just click Heat Wave. Like, I could just click Protect, but if he has Encore, then I just lose. So, I don't want to get cheesed by Encore. Does Raichu even get Encore this gen? I don't even know. I just know it can get it. That's why I was playing like that. He bullet punched? Okay. We should still be okay. Let me check. Raichu. It does get Encore, yeah. It gets Encore. So I think our play was correct here, right? Because that's kind of what I was worried about. I don't want to get Encored because that'd be kind of, like, sad. There should be one more turn of Sand, I think. But I guess I could just go for Heat Wave here, right? Like, there's no drawback. It's fine. Yeah, Heatran's pretty fat. Sword Dance comes out, that's fine. That's a very fast Scizor, by the way. Or at least fast enough, right? Like, that's 107 speed Scizor. Why did that not outspeed Raikou in Tailwind? Oh, no. Oh, okay. So, okay, never mind. Tailwind's still up. That's why Scizor outsped, not because of, what's it called? It being naturally faster. That makes sense. Okay. I like, got mixed up there for a second. Alright. So that was a good game, too. I think knowing that Aaron has U-turn on his Scizor is definitely helping us, because it gives us a little bit more of an advantage. Kingdra has gone down really quickly all 3 games, so that's been good for us because Kingdra is kind of annoying to deal with. I don't think he leads Scizor again this time. I think he's going to go back. I feel like this core I brought, though, was fine, because, like, I don't think Jumpluff offers much in regards of, like, what it can do as opposed to the other slot, and then Hitmontop isn't really doing much because the only physical attacker is Scizor, and, like, then Togekiss can come, and that can mess me up, you know? I feel like the 4 I brought was completely fine. It's just a playing thing of, like, calling what the turns are, you know? Like, I think the #1 thing that was really good for us in that second game was catching the Kingdra swap with Play Rough. And I think the best thing for Aaron in that game was him getting an early Sword Dance up. The only thing that ruined that was having to swap because of U-turn. So we have to be careful. We don't want to let Scizor get free turns like it just did this game, because that would actually be really bad for us. So going into the second game, I'd like to change that and not let him get a free move, setup move. I think Rain also just has a little bit of the edge against this team, right? Because you have like 2 weeks and then you have like the rest of it's fine, right? But you have to be cautious. Like it's an okay matchup for this team. Like it's more prepared for the Ludi Polytoad version of this. So all right, Raikou, Azu, and then Venusaur and Raichu. So I know this is really risky, but I almost feel like getting the early belly drum off would be really nice here, and I don't think Aaron would expect it. Like even a Snarl and a Play Rough here would absolutely like mess Aaron up, I feel like. Because like it's so risky for me to leave my Azu open to getting attacked here. But I feel like that's why it's the perfect play, you know? And if it gets doubled, it gets doubled. Or like even Fake Out, right? Like that's fine, because now I get a free Snarl. Alright, less fine. Sleep Powder has to miss if he goes for Sleep Powder. If he goes for Leaf Storm, then that's just tragic. Okay, alright. Alright, fair enough. Go for a Snarl, Play Rough again, I think. The reason why this is okay is because with the Snarl and the Venusaur, and then on top of that, the Snarl again on the Raichu, we should theoretically be able to live any double up. We could also just protect here, but I feel like consistently pressuring that slot so it can Volt Switch safely is nice. Because you either remove the Raichu, which lets Raikou do a lot more work in this matchup, or you give up your, Kingdra. And, like, Kingdra is also pretty good in the matchup. Like, I'm forcing Aaron basically to have to pick between targeting the Azu or targeting the Raikou, and both are, like, annoying for his game plan, you know? And, like, playing aggressive, especially versus good players, is usually good because they'll kind of expect you to make the better play of, like, protecting something or not attacking with something. Obviously, that depends, on the circumstance. If we had 2 Snarls up here, it would have been better. Like, 2 Snarls on Venusaur. But we'll have to see. I think Aaron's just deciding between what he targets, honestly. Alright, Snarl comes out. Raichu shouldn't be doing too much damage to Azu now, because we have the Snarl on it, right? Let's see, Volt Switch. Thunder? Okay, Thunder goes out. That goes into Azu. Okay, that actually gets us in Citrus range, which might actually let us live the Leaf Storm coming out from Venusaur. Depending on if it used it or not, is the question. Leaf Storm, okay, we might actually live now. We do not live, okay. I know this seems really bad, but I don't actually think this is that bad of a circumstance. Like, because we bring in Heat Train here, and it's a free Heat Wave, right? And, like, a free Snarl. And, like, that's, like, a lot of damage coming out. Snarl, Heat Wave. Yeah, because we either pick up Raichu, Kingdra comes in and gets Snarled, or, and Venusaur probably goes down. Or he double swaps, and in that case, Pelipper and Kingdra get hit by Snarl, which means Thunderbolt has the potential coming out here, or I can just call a Kingdra swap, right? Like, I think it's definitely correct to double attack here. We could have swapped our Azu into Heatran, and that might have been a better play, I think, on that turn too. Because, like, the double up was kind of obvious, right? And then we would have had some offensive pressure, and then we still would have had Azu in the back. That might have actually been the play, honestly. We're not actually going to see a swap, so I could potentially just see Pelipper coming in here. Instead, Sleep Powder might be coming out, which is a little annoying. Volt Switch, yep. Looks like no damage, doesn't matter. What's coming out here? Probably Kingdra, right? You never bring out the weather early. You save it for when your opponent has brought out their weather, or when, what's it called? Yeah. Oh, actually, he brought out his weather. Okay. Sleep Powder. I know Sleep Powder is coming out. It's just whether or not it lands is what matters. That's actually okay that it went in the Raikou. I was a little more worried about it going into, the other slot. That's like good damage. Okay. I think here we click Snarl again, and I think he's gonna Tailwind. I genuinely think Aaron Tailwinds here and doesn't attack. The main reason why I think so is because in this situation, right, I'm likely to swap into Tyranitar anyways. So I want Flash Cannon. Or Heat Wave. No, I should Heat Wave. I'm gonna Heat Wave. I don't think he Scalds. Scald would be a little too risky here, I think. I could just protect, right? Like, protecting Heatran's pretty obvious here. Stalling Raikou turns. But we'll see. Yeah, okay. He withdraws. He's probably going into Raichu. Oh, Kingdra. Okay. That's fine. Okay, does he Scald, though? Yeah, he Tailwinds. Okay, see, that's what I figured. Okay. Heat Wave comes out here, which is okay. This is still pretty bad because we're in a not a great position versus the Kingdra. Burn is nice, I guess. I feel like it's a Draco Meteor coming out into the Raikou, honestly. Which means that I would want to prioritize, like, chunking down the Kingdra, and making it waste its Draco Meteor, right? The thing is, Pelipper can Scald me. This kind of sucks. I kind of want to Earth Power into Pelipper, calling the swap. But then I just reset its weather for it, right? Like, is that even beneficial? I feel like that's a valid play. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I just feel better about this because... Oh, actually Pelipper didn't swap, so that's kind of unfortunate. That being said, though, I feel like Draco Meteor is a move coming out here. Oh, he clicked money. Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, now I think I just lose. I should have brought in Heatran, I think, on the previous like on turn 2, basically. Like, I think the issue is I played a little too aggressive. Like, my reads here were like super aggressive, right? Like, I was calling out the Raichu swap, I was calling out the different swaps, right? And what I probably should have focused a little bit more on early on is protecting the Azumarill, because Azumarill kind of beats the rest of the team, right? So letting the Azumarill go down early here was really detrimental, because now Kingdra can kind of just run through me. And that was the main issue that I think I encountered with the game. Now, I don't think I have any outs here. I think I have to go for the Earth Power and try and remove the Kingdra. But if Muddy Water connects, I just lose. Okay, yeah, he Scalds. At that rate, yeah, the game's probably just over. I could have swapped Raikou here, I guess, but it wasn't the best position anyways. But yeah, no, I think it was a well-played game for the most part, especially the second game. I think in the first game too, I think the first game was really good too, like, it was close. I think game 3, I got a little caught up in being too offensive. That being said, though, I think Aaron also played really well, because he was able to basically get his Kingdra in a position in Tailwind to exert enough pressure with Muddy Water, where, like, even if I had, like, you know, a pivot, like, I couldn't swap into everything the Kingdra was doing. He was just doing too much spread damage and chunking me down to the point where I lost, right? But we are going to do, like, post-game chat with Aaron after the game, so we'll see if he's good for that. Let me tell him GG's. All right. We'll see if Aaron's around to get the post-game chat in. Figured it'd be nice to actually hear his thoughts on the game. It's really nice, too, in best of threes, because, you know, every player processes stuff differently. So it's nice to kind of hear from, what's it called? Their end, how they're feeling about it, you know what I mean? Or, like, what they were thinking throughout the games. It's really, and, like, it's really fun and, like, a nice opportunity to get to play Aaron, you know? Like, very few times do I actually get to play versus him in tournament, right? So it's really nice to get the opportunity to play versus him in person. Obviously, Aaron, too, he's super good at the game as well, so make sure to check out his channel below. But yeah, we'll probably be getting into chat with him. I mentioned that I wanted to do it, and he said it was fine. We'll double check. If not, then I'll tell you guys, I guess. But yeah, I think final thoughts on that game too, like, or game 3, I should say. I think had I preserved the Azumarill better, it would have probably worked a bit better in our favor. But I think the key thing too was the Raichu, because the Raichu gave him a lot of flexibility versus my Raikou that he otherwise wouldn't have had, and it made it a lot more difficult for me to deal with, I think. With the Raichu in play, he was pretty much able to disrupt anything I could have done with the Raikou. Let me give him a call, because he said he was good to talk. Let's see if that works. Discord made no audio noise, so I'm kind of concerned. Let's hope it worked. But yeah, no, I felt like it was pretty, good overall. Like, I think, the nicest thing about Aaron's team was he was able to constantly exert pressure with, like, the combination of, like, flying move, grass move, or, like, water move, grass move. And, like, that's very tough to pivot into, you know? And then, regardless, you always have sleep as, like, a target to remove an out from your opponent, right? You're constantly able to exert pressure, even if you're not able to do a lot. And the nice thing, too, was that even though Venusaur doesn't get any ground coverage, you have Rain to compensate for that. The one thing I was interested about that I think is really cool, too, was that his... that he didn't have Ludicolo and he was using Kingdra because it kind of opened up using Venusaur. I don't think you can use Venusaur and Ludicolo on the same team because then it's a bit of redundancy with your weaknesses. So I think that having the Kingdra so that you could use Venusaur was a pretty nice choice. I'm kind of curious about the remainder of the team. Like, I don't know if Togekiss is meant for a certain matchup, maybe for the opposing Rain Mirror, because you do have something to pressure Ludicolo with that, and then you have Raichu as well, right? But, like, I think the main issue that you encounter on the team that Aaron has is, like, you kind of are forced to be very offensive, and you have very limited defensive plays besides, like, Sleep Powder and Fake Out, right? Which I think is fine. Like, usually into more defensive teams, which is kind of what the format is biased towards, you're able to put on a lot of pressure. And I think Venusaur is actually a really nice choice for the metagame because it actually does work versus Gastrodon, right? You can pressure Gastrodon, you can go for Sleep Powders into things that resist you anyways, you can go for Sludge Bomb, which pressures the fairies in the format. So there's a lot you can do with that. We're about to get in call with Aaron as well. He just said give me a moment, which is fine. In terms of the team we use, I feel like it's still a pretty good team. I think it just came down to how we played it. This is my first time actually using it anyways. Probably contributed a little bit. I think key errors we made looking back is leaving it Azu, letting it get hit by Leaf Storm Thunder, swapping into Heatran would have been optimal with a light screen potentially. Then turn after that we could have Heat Waved and then gone for a Snarl, right? And that would have covered for Kingdra swap, that would have covered for the other stuff. We would have been in a much better position. But I think it was just a couple of minor errors, and these errors also too were based on me saying I think he's going to do this, right? So it's like a calculated risk, and the risk just didn't work out in that instance. So we'll have to see. But that was a really fun match, honestly. I'm really curious to see what Aaron's thoughts are on it as a whole, because I felt like the team is very unique in that regard in terms of how it was utilized. So we'll have to see. Also, too, side note for any of you guys who are just chilling here waiting for the post-game interview, thank you for all the support, as always. I appreciate it. I know we're having a bit of a long talk segment. Aaron needed a minute. I don't feel like editing it down because there were still thoughts I wanted to get out about the game. But yeah, and I tried to fix the volume audio this time around. I don't know if it actually worked. You guys have to let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure the audio worked. Yo, what's up, Aaron?
Hey, how's it going, dude?
It's going good, dude. The GG's from our game, dude. It was a ton of fun. I actually really enjoyed the matchup. It was like really cool to see Venusaur 2 put in some work.
For sure, yeah, man. I definitely thought I got pretty lucky, like just, you know, hitting some of those slightly inaccurate attacks, and I thought you played super well. And the Raikou adjustment was just really smart in general.
Yeah, no, I think, well, the thing is, too, is, like, Pokemon's always, like, a game of, like, chance in a way, right? Like, I was saying this during, like, our set, that, like, with moves like Sleep Powder, like, inaccurate moves, like, you always assume they land, right? You're always playing like you're assuming they're landing anyways.
For
so
sure, exactly.
Like, yeah, so it doesn't make too much of a difference there. But, like, yeah, dude, no, I thought your team was cool, too, because I was talking about this, and I don't know if this is the logic behind it, but, like, because you have Kingdra, you can afford to use Venusaur, because you're not doubling up on that grass weakness if you were using something like Ludicolo. And then, like, Raichu really was good for your team, too, because it helps versus Raikou a bunch. Like, I felt really trapped because I couldn't click, like, Thunderbolt at all, and I was forced to click, like, Snarl and screens, like, majority of the time.
For sure, yeah. No, I gotta give credit. This guy, Will, Scout AX, just traded to me a few days ago, and I was like, well, this team looks really fun. And, like, I think Venusaur is something that obviously we've seen so much of, like, recently, but not so much in this
BDSV.
format, you know? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, well, I think it's because it lost, like, Earth Power, Weather Ball, like, all those nice coverage moves it used to have, right? And, like, I think it's also too because of what was popular, but what I find so interesting is like I feel like Scissor or like Heatran has to be on like every team because like every match I've played, like even versus your team, like you had a Scissor on it, which is correct with Rain, right? Like I feel like it just shows a lot about like how good the Steel type is in this format because I feel like every team I've seen has had at least like Scissor or Heatran on it. And it like really
Scissor
is,
itself
like,
is so crazy, honestly, man. Like it's wild how it's so funny because you know it's one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, and I was so sad that like it dipped in popularity, obviously, in like the recent generations. But it makes so much sense in this format where you know there's no Dynamax and like Bullet Punch, and just in itself is so powerful. And so yeah, no, I definitely agree. It feels like team building is interesting in this format because like yeah, Scizor or Heatran both feel like one of the two adds so much value to your team, and Heatran also directly counters Scizor, which is obviously very nice as well.
Yeah, I'm sad I didn't get to use Jump Love versus you. Like, well, like I did, but like not like fully. You know what I mean? So the full set on the Jump Love was Akaberry with Encore, Encore, Sleep Powder, Rage Powder, and Protect. And basically the idea behind it is because you know Azumarill like Jump Love like obviously exerts a lot of pressure. Usually opponents' way of dealing it with it is like Fake Out or like you know trying to double target it, right? So you have Rage Powder to prevent the double target, Sleep Powder if like they do something else. And then you have Encore if they lock themselves into Fake Out turn 1. That was the idea. So it's like kind of like a cool thing to use. The problem against your team, I think, is that Raichu speed ties anyways. So it's kind of like a weird position where I'm forced to Rage Powder anyways. So that's why I like felt better about the Raikou adjustment going into Game 2 and Game 3. I think Game 3 too was like when you doubled the Azumarill and KO'd it. I was actually talking about it during the game, and I was like, either I stay in and call that like Aaron's gonna call me to like go into the Heatran, or like I just play like you know what I mean, or just you know swap it. And I ended up picking like the you know just play roughing with it. But like I think in hindsight like that's where I made like a big error because I think you played it well. You know what I mean? You went for the objectively correct play in that scenario. I think, which is just double targeting the Azumarill. You know?
Yeah, I think like in my head, in game 2, like I was expecting you to belly drum like the entire set, and then you made the really good call to play rough the Raichu on the Kingdra switch in. And in my head, I was like, oh yeah, like he's belly drumming this turn, like Kingdra's out, the game's just over because I could just start spamming attacks. And then play rough came out, and I was like, oh man, like I didn't even think about that. So that was like super smart. So then going into game 3, I was like, okay, I can't just give up Kingdra for free because it's like so much value, especially if I eliminate the Azumarill early on in the match. And so I was like, okay, well, even if I miss the attacks, like at least it's good damage from there on. And like I think like because I missed Sleep Powder on Raikou turn 1, I was like, okay, now I need to get a little bit like, you know, I have to think a little bit more. But in my head, I was like, even if you end up pivoting the Azumarill out, Venusaur being able to like outspeed both your Tyranitar and Heatran made things a lot easier because it meant like even in the worst case scenario, like I could just clip Sleep Powder and like hope for the best, right? And so I hate relying on it, but like in this matchup, it felt like it was, you know, super strong. I think in game 2, in my head, I was thinking that maybe you would drop Heatran because I didn't bring Scizor in game 1, but then you brought it anyway, and I was like, oh, that's super smart of him.
Yeah, it was just too risky to not bring it, right? Because like,
sure,
if you bring it and then I don't have it, like I just lose. You know? So I was like,
yeah, exactly.
I was like, I'd rather not on, because like, and that's a good. I was actually thinking about that too because the nice thing was after you got that game 1, especially with the team like yours, I feel like where you have a couple of viable options into the matchup, like. It puts you in a position where you can make an adjustment pretty safely and even call me not to bring something, right? Whereas like I have to choose whether to like stick to my guns or like adjust something that could potentially make me weak to something else you could bring, right?
The dynamic of like the weather is always so interesting too because it's like you almost have to bring Tyranitar, you almost have to bring Heatran just because of like the Pokemon that I have, but it's like difficult as well just because like obviously both of those are pretty weak into Pelipper and Kingdra, so I felt like I had like a edge on the matchup there, and so like you know, it makes it tougher for you to just like generally play the game. But I think like, you know, it's funny, you're talking about Jump Fluff, and when I saw it in the lead and just saw it in general, I was like, wow, I haven't seen this Pokemon since like VGC 2016, and I was like pretty sure it gets access to Rage Powder in this gen, but like does it? Like is that move even in the game? So
no, it's so
I wasn't
cool.
even 100% sure. Yeah,
I think it's such a cool Pokemon. I'm kind of biased because I really like it's shiny, like how it looks, you know. So it's like it was like a cool looking Pokemon, and also too its kit's pretty cool, you know. And like I think it actually makes the most sense next to Azumarill because all things considered, right? Like Azumarill doesn't really like taking grass moves, it doesn't like taking like electric moves, and like even Jump Off on this team kind of makes sense because Tyranitar and Heatran both like they don't like taking ground moves, right? So it kind of gives you like a good Rage Powder mon. And like fast Sleep Powder is always good regardless. Like obviously that was shown through your Venusaur, you know, like being able to click Sleep Powder is always a good option, you know.
For sure, yeah.
But yeah. I guess thank you again, Aaron, by the way, for the best three everything. It was a really nice experience. I really enjoyed getting to battle you because I feel like, you know, obviously like you're not playing like too much in tournaments as much anymore, so it's like it's nice to get the opportunity to play versus you when we do. So
thank you, dude. No, it's seriously a pleasure. And yeah, keep up all the good work, man. I feel like you're really just doing so well in this like BDSP stuff, and obviously back in Sword and Shield as well. So it's really like a treat and a pleasure to watch.
No, yeah, thank you again, man. And for everyone watching the video, this will probably be the end of the video. Aaron, I'll probably like talk to you real quick after, but yeah, thank you guys again for all the support. If you guys haven't already, obviously I'll have Aaron's channel linked down below, so make sure to check that out. And thank you guys again for all the support on the videos. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.